Just doing some maintenance to the bike. Double stand broke. I'm gonna take that off, put a new one on it. Change the jet in the carb. Jet's too rich. I'm gonna lean it a little bit. I made my little silencer here. It's just an electrical box. 4 wheels drilled in the bottom. I'm gonna open it up and put some steel wool in the bottom. I'll muffle it a bit more. I ran out of welding wire, so I just put a couple hose clamps on there on the inside. This is just waiting, temporary for now. Just waiting on my end current coming. Noticed that I ended up with a little head gasket leak at the end of the day riding yesterday. So that's just letting me know that the piston rings are breaking in and seating better, so I just tighten it up. Don't want to over tighten it and bust the threads and that, so I'll just tighten it up as I go. The downpipe I want to change, but I just used this one temporarily off the stock one because I had nothing else. Welding's a bit cheesy. I ran out of welding wire right at the end. But this pipe fits on quite good. This is the Malaguti Motocross 50 pipe. And the only thing I welded was the downpipe. That's it. I haven't welded anything else. Ideally, I want to cut it here, and back there again, and reshape the whole pipe so it comes down and comes back up like a proper motorbike. Because this comes out a bit, and it's quite close when you pedal. So you gotta keep your pedal on an angle. I could get a shorter crank arm, which will help with that, off a smaller mountain bike, like a kid's one. They have shorter arms because these ones are quite long. If I don't re-weld the pipe, but for now, just to test the pipe and to see if it's actually going to work. It didn't make sense re-cutting the whole pipe up and reshaping it if it didn't run right. I'm well happy with the way it runs, because in my experience, guys are putting motocross 80 pipes on. That might be running good for the saw cylinders and bigger pistons and better, higher compressions and all that. But for these little ports and these little blocks, you don't want a big, huge, massive exhaust and downpipe and expansion chamber, because you're going past peak power. You're not on the pipe. The bike doesn't produce enough power for the pipe to work right. So that's why I went with a 50cc motocross pipe. Because it's actually, the downpipe here is actually a lot closer to what it needs to be. No sense having a tiny, tiny little downpipe, and only so much exhaust can get through, and then you have this big, huge exhaust. It doesn't flow right. So so this slowly gets bigger and bigger and bigger, like nice smoothness, not just a small thing and straight bang, big, huge motocross pipe. You know what I mean? If you're gonna go with the motocross pipe, go with the more accordingly one. I believe these bikes they say they're 80cc, but they're not really. I'm sure the stroke and the bore and all that works out to be like a 66cc. So in theory, KTM 65 or Kawasaki 65, any of the 65 pipes will probably run the best, because it's in the peak power range and all of that, whatever. And obviously each pipe works differently. So this pipe will run best at a certain RPM. Anything under that or anything over that, you've gone past peak power, you lost your torque or whatever. So this is great power, has lots of low end. I'm still breaking it in, obviously, and like I said, the piston rings seem to be seating because of having head gasket leak, and the bike's harder to start now. Before it was easy to start, now it's getting harder to start. That's because, well, not harder to start, it's harder to let the clutch out and start it. because the clutch just wants to slip because it has that much compression now, because the piston rings are starting to seep. So a little bit unorthodox looking, but it does work. It doesn't affect the performance. It's just a muffler. That's it. Just to silence the noise coming out the back pipe. And I'm gonna start working on my wheels next. I have some sprockets here that I made. I made this one and this one out of a pedal bike front sprocket. Believe it or not, BMX front sprockets. And I'm just basically using these to just get a rough idea of which sprocket I want to run. The next one, which is the stock one, it probably comes up to here, which is 44 or something stupid like that, 44 tooth or something. And they're just temporary for me to figure out where I want to be, and then once I have that